If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my.
I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Welcome to NBA Player Performance, Monday, October 28th, 2024, the first Monday of the NBA calendar, a big card, an opportunity to dominate. I am the Shark, your guest host for this week. J.A. Cavalier, the legend, is off this week on vacation. I will be taking you through every card with my guys, Luke Shuey, the prop master, and Downtown Junior Brown in South America right now, firing up plays, and we have 7 plays for you guys today. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, and please drop a comment with your top plays, your thoughts on our analysis, if you like the plays, if you're fading, tailing, and what you think. We appreciate you guys immensely for interacting with the show. We love to bring you guys hype, analysis, top picks, and top conversation. NBA Player Performance starts now. Pistons at Heat, 7:30 in Miami at the Casillas Center. We're taking the Pistons at plus 8.5, and this is really a continued buy low. We've already bought the Pistons twice this year. This is a buy team, as discussed before, and will be the continuing conversation with the Pistons. Bottomed out last year with Monty Williams, going 14-68. Well, it's a new year. It's a new coach. It's JB Bickerstaff, an elite-level coach. And it's a young group that is finding their flow. 0-3 straight up on the season. Pushed against Indiana. Didn't cover by a point against Cleveland. And did cover against Boston. And this is truly a great spot to sell Miami. Miami, in this Jimmy Butler era, does not bring their A-game quality before Christmas. They're playing for June. They're older players. The coach has been around for 20 years, it seems. They just don't take the game that seriously early season. Started last year 2-5, the previous year 1-4. Looking lackluster this year already, getting blown out in their only home game in the opener by close to 25 points by Orlando. Barely covered against a really mediocre Charlotte team over the weekend. And you find a nice buy low for Detroit in this matchup. 0-6 straight up. Last 6 against Miami, but very competitive last year. Losses by 1 point in Miami, 8 at home, 3 at home, and an outlier by 13. This number is notably short. You're getting it at plus 8.5. I have Miami to win this game at the most by 6 points. Take the upstart Pistons tonight at plus 8.5, and let's dominate. Jazz at Mavericks, 8:30 p.m. in Dallas. Interesting matchup here tonight between a bottom feeder in the West and the Western Conference champs. Junior's in the house. He has a team total over on the Mavericks at 121.5.
What's good, my boy? You good?
Feeling great, bro. It's great to be back with you here after a long summer. It is an opportunity to dominate. You love this. I got some comments. What do you think about this one?
Let's do it. Mavs team total over 121.5, and has everything to do with me fading the Jazz, who, as a defense, are an absolute joke. They were the worst defense in the league last season, and they've somehow managed to start the season off even worse, allowing 1.22 points per possession. Just to simplify that for everybody listening, that would constitute an even worse defense than the worst defense last year, which was them. So I'm banking on the fact that Dallas, coming off of a game against a real team, an improved team, the Phoenix Suns, where they weren't able to make shots, but those were makeable shots. It's not like the Phoenix Suns did something to shut down the Mavericks. It's just variance sometimes is going to go that way when you shoot as many threes as most teams in the NBA do, but especially the Mavs, who are always amongst the leaders in three-point attempts. So I think against a Utah team that is allowing, I believe, 126 points per game, 121.5 for the Mavs should be no sweat. I know obviously it's not usually that straightforward, but if you just want to break it down matchup-wise, who do they have that can stop any of the Mavs' top 3 players? I don't see it on Utah's side. They've improved offensively, which is great, but their defense is an absolute joke.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The last game they played, they give up 127 to the Warriors. The Warriors couldn't miss, but it's largely because of their lack of defensive pressure on the perimeter. You said it with Dallas in their previous game. 93 shot attempts, less than 40%. Maybe a slight regression off a heat check in the opener. Klay Thompson turning back the clock to 2014. He wasn't as hot, but he still looked pretty representative. But I think more importantly, the three-point metric, as you mentioned, 13 for 41. They're going to improve on that. The Utah does not defend at all. And I think given the fact that they do play a massive game tomorrow night, Dallas that is, at Minnesota, massive Western Conference Finals rematch, I think that they're going to get out and flow tonight. I think the defense is going to be completely devoid in this game. I think you're going to see an over. I think it's going to be wide open. And really final point on this to give some more credential to Junior's play. Last season on December 6, 2023, Utah's first visit to the American Airlines Center last year, Dallas scored 147 points on the same line, minus 11.5. So looks like the over, looks like Dallas to a certain degree. Junior likes the team total over 121.5, an official play in this game. Pacers at Magic, 7 o'clock in Orlando. We're taking the Magic at -6 for 1 unit. And this is really a snapshot to calendar spots, buy low, sell high for both teams. Orlando comes home off a really abysmal showing in Memphis on Saturday night, 124 to 111. But key point there, 3rd in 4, back-to-back final leg, not where any team performs well. Now they come home refreshed, and they find Indiana in the 3rd in 4, back-to-back final leg themselves. And it gets even worse for Indiana. Yesterday, Sunday afternoon, Indiana went to overtime at home with Philadelphia, took a loss, looked uninspired the entire game, and truthfully have looked uninspired for most of this season so far. The next game for this team is an Eastern Conference Finals rematch against Boston on national TV at home on Wednesday night. Fatigue spot, final leg of a back-to-back, look ahead, and a team that seems to be maybe not taking the game seriously off a late playoff run last year. Last year, these teams played 3 times. Orlando did go 2-1 straight up in ATS. They lost the most recent one in Orlando, a game Orlando just couldn't shoot the basketball. Books are moving the lineup with heavy strength. Everything connects with Orlando tonight. It is Monday night. It is NBA player performance, a top play. Take Orlando at -6, and let's cash this ticket. Bucks at Celtics, 7:30 TD Garden in Boston. Massive game here. 2 of the top teams in the East facing off. First Monday of the NBA season. We got Luke in the house. We got Junior in the house. We got 2 official plays. A little conversation. Junior going Boston in the first half at -6.
Yeah, listen, I always love Boston in the first half. Sharky, we did a show together last year where I was cashing Boston first half all season. I don't see any reason to jump off that train with the way they're playing. I don't want to overreact to anything that we've seen so far in the season because the sample size is so tiny. But for Boston, is it really, though? They're coming off a championship run and kind of picked up where they left off. And so have Milwaukee in terms of being mediocre. I think that the problem for Milwaukee is exactly what Boston does really well, which is penetrate, drive to the hole, get good play from their wings and guards. The thing that Milwaukee cannot seem to stop. And I just like Boston's energy in the first quarter, especially with Milwaukee coming off a back-to-back situation.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Boston already 3-0 ATS in the first half this year. And, of course, coming off a title run, a lot of people thought they would be incredibly lackluster to start. Not so much at all, but I think even more credential to your play. Coming off their first non-cover of the season over the weekend in Detroit, but did come out hot, gave it back late. They will come out here. A lot of conversation before the show. I think Milwaukee might play a tight game tonight. Milwaukee was noticeably awful yesterday afternoon in Brooklyn, an outright loss as a significant favorite. The first half speaks for one thing, but I think Milwaukee might get it tight late. And I think that really connects with Luke's official play in this game, which is an under on Jason Tatum, player points under 29.5.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that? I'm fading one of the best players in hoops. That is correct. I know it's not a comfortable spot, but I like getting uncomfortable and trying to be a little bit sharp with my underplays. I got the Boston Sox hat on, but I'm fading Boston's Tatum tonight. I have under 29.5, and let me just break it down for you why. So if you look at his point production, he's got 33 points per game this year. He's starting out hot. But if you look at his matchups against Milwaukee last season in a 4-game sample size, he actually averages 20 per game. He doesn't love their matchup. They tend to force the ball to the other players. And I do think Boston's excellent at spreading the love. So I think the likes of, Holiday, Brown, Derek White, Horford, I think they get the job done here. They're not selfish. I have him projected, if you look at the analytics, for about 26 tonight. That gives us 3 points of wiggle room. I'm not afraid here to go under. He went under in 3 or 4 games last year. Let's smack it one more time.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Milwaukee expected to compete here with significance. Did actually go 4-0 ATS against Boston last year, 2-0 ATS at the TD Garden, both as a significant favorite. We would lean towards Milwaukee in the game. Of course, an under from Luke on Tatum points, and Junior, Boston, first half. 2 officials, 1 game. Let's dominate. Rockets at Spurs, 8 o'clock, Frostbank Center in San Antonio. 2 young teams in Texas playing their second consecutive game against each other in this gym. Luke's back in the house, the prop master he is, looking at 4th overall pick, Stefan Castle, building castles perhaps with his statistics tonight. You like the PRA over 11.5.
I do. I love this play. He's not even a starter yet in the NBA, but there's really good value on this line. His PRA, for those that need to break it down, is points, rebounds, and assists. It's a combo stat. It's sitting at 11.5, and look at his stats through 2 games. He's averaging 14 PRA on the season. He's covered this in both games, and honestly, he hasn't even shot the ball very well. He has yet to make a 3-pointer. But he's a stud. I mean, those that follow college hoops, he was such a good athlete at UConn. He's 6'5", so athletic. And I think the Spurs are pretty high on him. I mean, he's getting a lot of minutes in the first 2 games and hasn't shot the ball well. Honestly, when I break down the analytics, my platform has him projected for 11 points alone. I mean, so he would need 1 assist, 1 rebound to cover if that's true. I just think the value there is huge here. And I have him taking the over. So again, Castle over 11.5. What do you think, Sharky? Is that sharp? What do we got here?
I think it is sharp, and I think as he's going to get into a flow in his career here, he's going to show more efficiency. And you had said something to me off the air, which I think is very applicable here, and it correlates to my handicap. If this game gets highly one-sided to the Houston side of this game, he might be on the court in the second half to really bloat some stats here. So Luke on the over, PRA, Stephen Castle, 11.5. My top play in this game, Houston minus 2.5. And as I mentioned, this is 2 consecutive games in the same gym, almost like a mini playoff series. And this scheduling started during the COVID season 4 years ago for travel purposes and safety purposes. They have stuck to it. And you see these very often, and it's very difficult for the same team to win both games. And of course, the Spurs did win the first one over the weekend, 109-106. Came out blazing hot in the first half, caught Houston napping. But I think a very specific point on that was a 3rd and 4 home road back-to-back for Houston. Noteworthy fatigue spot off a 20-point win the previous night against Memphis. Not where you expect Houston to play well really ever. So now they get to sit in a hotel room in San Antonio, maybe go over to the Riverwalk, stew on this for about 48 hours with Ime Udoka in their ear, and they get to come back in a one-off revenge game on a stronger line. They were laying 1.5 on Saturday. They're laying 2.5 here. Books like them. We like the revenge. And the final point on this, Spurs played 2 of these environments last year at home, 2 straight against the Lakers, 2 straight against Phoenix. They did split both. Spurs are young. It's going to be tough for them to win 2 in a row against this very grinderish Udoka team. We love this. We love the Rockets tonight here at minus 2.5. Let's cash this one.
I love it. If I can add one little tidbit here, I think you cap the games, I cap the props, but I think Houston was a public favorite in that first game of the series, which, sharp side went Spurs and Spurs won. I think it flipped to your point. So let's cheer for, a big Houston win, some garbage time for Castle, and let's go 2-0 for the crowd.
Bulls at Grizzlies, out of conference basketball on this Monday. A beautiful hat it is, and it is an opportunity to buy the over in this game at 233 or 232.5. And truthfully, this is a snapshot to two teams that are really polar opposite to what they were last year. Of course, last year, the Grizzlies didn't have John Morant, really had a gutted roster, were playing incredibly poor ball. Well, Ja's back, and they are sprinting out of the gym. 3-0 versus the over, going over on average by 17.8 points per game. And I don't think that's going to change early season, where championship-level defense is not a thing in this league. And you look at tonight's opponent, Chicago. Chicago moved DeMar DeRozan, and they moved Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso was their best perimeter defender. DeMar DeRozan was a throwback to 90s style ball, half-court player. This new group, Lonzo Ball, Josh Giddey, and others, are playing a wide-open style of ball and no defense. They are 2-1 versus the over, and a beautiful buy low off an under against Oklahoma City on Saturday night. An outlier result where Oklahoma City attempted 107 shots and shot poorly from the field. Chicago wasn't playing defense. OKC was flat and still actually scored 114 and blew out the Bulls. Last year, these teams did go under once and over another. This line is 20 points higher than the previous line, telling you the story numerically that I just described. Take the over in this matchup. Get ready to take overs for a long period of time with this Bulls team, and let's cash this ticket.
Tell me what you gonna do now. Keep rolling, keep rolling.
Thanks for tuning in on this Monday, October the 28th, 2024. It is NBA Player Performance, a fire show, top conversation, picks and analysis. For Luke, the prop master, and for Junior Brown, I am the Shark, guest hosting this week for J.A. Cavalier. Be sure to head on over to ylose.com. That is YLOSE.com. Free picks, stats, scores, trends, and more. Best of luck with your wagers tonight. Listen to the Sharps. Bet with the Sharps. It is an opportunity to dominate. See you guys back here tomorrow. 4-game card. Have a beautiful night, and let's cash these tickets.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm.